the most dangerous business podcast in the world. Entrepreneurs and ambitious people, if you want to build a powerful, profitable, impactful business, if you want to study and fall in love with the process, if you want to acquire the skills, habits, and determination you need to level up in business and in life, that's fantastic because I'm working on the same thing. This is the Game of Grow movement. Welcome back. You are now listening to the Game of Grow podcast, and I'm your host, Moya Okome. Episode lucky number 13 of the most dangerous business podcast in the world. It doesn't matter where you start or where you are right now. Are you willing to take that challenge and grow? Monumental. As I speak, we're about to cross 20,000 downloads. It's been about 9 weeks. Slowing down a little bit, but we're going to pick it back up. So if you love the show, bring me back one person for every episode you enjoyed. It's been about 13 episodes, so you do the math. Let's round it up. Bring me 20 if you want. 10 stars only. All right, guys. As you know, I'm huge on your feedback. I love it, especially those podcast reviews. And this week's review of the week comes from 33 Jones, who says, "Disobey your brain and follow your soul." 5-star review by 33 Jones. "I just listened to Moyo's latest podcast with Tom Bilyeu, and it completely changed the way I think about growing my business. Big shout out to Game of Grow. Let's go." Shout out to you, 33 Jones. Keep on growing your business. Thank you so much for the review. I'm going to encourage you to use both, though. The brain is still important. And trust me, if you listen to his show, Impact Theory, Tom definitely agrees. Guys, I want you all to be like 33 Jones. If you're getting value, if and only if you are getting value, make sure you help us out as well. Introduce your friends to the community. "Hey, Michelle, my friend Moyo has a podcast called Game of Grow. You're going to love it because blah, blah, blah. Let me show you how to subscribe. I'll let you handle all the rest." It's going to help them. It's going to help us. And leave us a nice review as well. Why not? So on this episode, we're going to talk about ideas and we're going to talk about execution. Now, here is an Instagram DM I received from a friend of mine. We went to school together a long time ago. Haven't been in touch as much, but we're still definitely cool. And if you're tuned in now, brother, I'm not sharing this to pick on you. I'm not going to use any names, but I want to give you the real because I do want to help. And this is a moment that we can all learn from. Here it goes. He says, "Yo, bro, good morning. I really need your help. I know for a fact I have $1 million, maybe $1 billion idea. I need some help materializing it. Do you have a number or we can communicate through here? I'd like to schedule a meeting sometime in the next month. I know it's a good idea and I'd like to work with you on it." So I reply back, "Afternoon, bro. Very busy times. Best thing is to send me more information about what you want to accomplish to moyo@appmagic.co. and I'll follow up with how best I may be able to help. Hope you're well, man." And so that was the message. That was my reply. And this is generally what I'll do with any proposal that comes across my desk. It's not personal. It's not that I don't believe in you or I don't want to help. I really do want to help. As an entrepreneur, my time is my most valuable resource. It's more valuable than money. You can't get time back. And if I were to jump on the phone for every time someone had $1 million idea, I would never make any progress on the priorities I've set for my own businesses, my own missions, this podcast, the impact I want to have on the world. You have to get a little bit ruthless with your time. By the way, you should too. And in fact, if we're being real, I could be doing this a lot better. Further, and I do understand that everyone's in a different point with business and entrepreneurship, and we all have a lot to learn, including myself. So I'm going to say this as gently as I possibly can without any judgment at all. I don't believe there's such thing as $1 million idea or $1 billion idea. It doesn't mean, well, let me put it this way. Nobody cares about your idea. I care about your idea because I'm a sensitive guy, because we're friends. Your parents might care about your idea. Possibly your significant other, sometimes. But other than that, for the most part, nobody cares. And the sooner you can realize it, the better off you're going to be. People just don't care about ideas. They care about their needs and wants. And to the extent that you can help them with those things, and you can message that to them clearly in a way they understand, they may start to care a little bit. But when it comes to ideas, no matter how cool they are, nobody actually cares. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that your idea isn't great. I don't know. I haven't yet received the email. And no matter what I think, no matter what you think, it's ultimately up to the market anyway. It's up to people. But the idea is really the most minuscule piece of the whole deal. Oftentimes, before we've gotten on the field and been bloodied in this sport of entrepreneurship, we tend to overvalue the idea. And I'm not just talking about other people. I used to do exactly the same thing. And let me stop here for a minute. I'll urge you all, if you're listening, I'll urge you all to read the book, The Millionaire Fastlane. It's kind of a cheesy title, I know, but it's an amazing book. So don't be deterred by the title. And he has some great commentary on this point, on how the majority of the value is not in the idea, it's in the execution. And he has a second book that's called Unscripted, which it's kind of a similar message, but a great read as well. So even if your idea is great, ultimately everybody in the world has great ideas. It just means very little until you put them into motion and execute them. It's a process. $1 million is an event. $1 billion is huge, it's amazing, but it's still an event. But behind those events, there's generally a long, grueling, exciting, frustrating, sometimes boring, but you got to keep going process that leads to the results, that leads to the big event. And I realize there may be some confusion around what that actually means. People are always saying, it's not about the ideas, you got to execute, it's the process. So that's what I want to talk about today. Let's put some precision around that. Now, let me share another text message I received today. This one is from one of my students in App Moguls. I was walking through the supermarket when I got it. I think I may have stopped in the aisle and jumped for joy. You know, like when Jordan and the Bulls won the championship, he jumps up, does a fist pump. That was me in the supermarket. So let's try to observe what's different about this and what we can learn. So here's the message. It says, also, I forgot to tell you that despite missing almost a full week in sales due to issues, I still crossed over 1,000 for the month of April. He's talking about his sales, aiming to cross at least 2,000 this month, 2,000 in sales this month. So I reply, yes, amazing, man. Definitely going to reach out. I don't know what the rest of the message is. So he's been in this for a while, working on this for a while. He's in the process. He's done the research. He learned how to get the app developed. He had to learn how to market, learn the process of monetization, get tripped up while learning these processes, learn a better way, get discouraged, ask for support, learn a new way, keep going. So it's always a roller coaster and it's a process. It doesn't just come to you. You don't just ask one person. Nobody's going to save you. You have to take action, you have to learn, and you have to fight. It's a process. Now he's at a recurring $1,000 per month, $12,000 per year, looking to get to $2,000 per month or $24,000 per year. But it's just the beginning. And you can easily see how he will keep working and figuring his way to $10,000 per month later this year, or $20,000 per month, and so on and so forth. He has customers paying him recurring revenue. He understands how to move forward. He understands how to make mistakes and learn from them, try new things and actively learn from them. He's learned how to love his customers, give them what they want, really hear them, fully embrace all the things that come in the process. And that is ultimately how, over a long period of time, you get to that big event that you're looking for. There's really no shortcuts. Nobody's going to come in and save you. You're looking for someone to tell you otherwise. This just is not that kind of show. I told you from the jump, I'm always going to try to keep it as real as I can with you. And if you don't like that, it really just is what it is. So I'll give you another example with our app, Color Noir, which I first mentioned back in episode 11, Fall in Love with Your Customer, How to Build a Successful App Business in 2019. I like that one. So Color Noir has been out for a couple of weeks now, maybe. We're having good traction as we just start to advertise. As I speak, we have about 48 reviews in the App Store. I forget how many downloads, maybe around 1,000. And there's also a ton of demand on the Android side as well. Every day, multiple people asking me, where the hell is the Android app? When's it coming? And we're working to make that happen in the very near future. So guys, everybody on Android, just have patience with me. We're coming up on 100 paying customers, and those are customers that will pay us each month. And we really need to get to 1,000 to 2,000 customers to make it a sustainable business, which we can continue to invest in and serve more and more customers better and better. So we are very much in the process, very much in the fight. But even to get to this point has been a process. So to give you an idea of what I actually mean by execution, what I mean by the process, first, I had to do App Store research and realized that coloring book apps were extremely popular and represented a great opportunity. Then after a while, I quickly put out a MVP, a minimal viable product version. That was probably about a year or so ago, to try to test out the potential of the market and how we could do. And with this MVP, even when I advertised it, it went nowhere. Nobody cared. It was undifferentiated. It was pretty much the same offering as other coloring books out there, but it was arguably worse. So I put it back on the shelf. I worked on other projects, as one does. And then over time, I realized that looking at the analytics for this app, for this coloring book, people were still using it. And it was still earning a very small amount of recurring money, even though I wasn't giving it any attention that it deserved. And during this time when I was neglecting it, it got a 1-star review, but it kept on earning that little trickle of revenue. After I thought more about it, I realized that the product, it was actually a pretty decent product, but what was missing was an audience who actually cared about it. And the reason why they didn't care is because there were so many viable options. And so this app added negligible value. It just really did the same thing as all the other apps, offered the same content. So why would they care? However, what if I could serve an audience who was all but being ignored, and serve them at a high level with the highest quality product that catered to their needs as well, and also build a real community around it, really fall in love with the customer? And that is exactly how Color Noir was born. I talked about that back in episode 11, like I mentioned before. But even with this so-called great idea, this obviously great idea, nobody cares. We still needed to execute and go through the process. So what's that look like? Part of that, we were rejected by the App Store review team various times for various reasons. Why? It's just part of the process and some of the things you have to go through. We needed to find enough compelling art content to satisfy our customer without spending $1 zillion off the bat. It's part of the process. We had images that were sized too large and were crashing the app. We had to figure out how to size the images down while still allowing the images to be large enough for people to color. Again, this is all part of the process. We had to get reviews from family and friends to kick things off so that when people came to look at our App Store page, it wasn't bone dry or with that one-star review. So that when people who don't know us, have no idea who we are, come to the app, it looks like a decent app. Again, this is part of the process. Had to get feedback from people in relevant Facebook groups and all around social media to choose the best app icon that would help get us get conversions. And this is, again, you guessed it, this is execution. This is all part of the process. We had to change the range of browns that we offered in the app to be more vibrant, because for this particular app, brown is pretty much the most important color. And again, you guessed it, this is part of the process. We had to build a social media following on multiple channels. So Instagram is probably the most important one we're working on right now. We have the Color Noir Facebook group as well. These places allow us to get real feedback in real time to build a community. And yes, this is part of the process. This is how we execute. People love this app now, but we still have to figure out the optimal marketing channels to find more similar people while using our advertising budget as efficiently as we can. This is not an idea. This is how we execute. This is being an entrepreneur. This is the process. We still need to get to our first 1,000 to 2,000 paying customers, not just downloads, but people who actually see value and pay for the app in order for this thing to work. So we need to make sure that we are wowing them and delighting them and providing them with an amazing experience and getting their feedback every step of the way. And it's not just about attracting them to download the app and convincing them to pay us and become customers once. We have to continue to offer them an amazing experience and raise the bar and retain these customers for the long term so we can continue to serve them and have a real long-term relationship and a real business, not just a fleeting revenue stream. So it's a process. If we don't provide them incredible value on their terms, what they think value is, not what we think value is, it's not going to work long term, and we don't deserve to have them long term. So we are going to provide them incredible value long term and go above and beyond. And guess what? This is all part of the process. This is how you execute. Getting onto Android, that's a priority, and that is execution. That is a process. Going from 1,000 subscribers once we get there to 10,000 subscribers, it's going to be a process. It's going to be execution. This is not about ideas. It's about execution. It's about the process. And this is what entrepreneurship is all about. And I can keep going with this for a really long time. I forget who it was, but some smart dude or some smart lady said that as an entrepreneur, you are a professional problem solver. You are a professional problem solver. And that's the truth. It's just the truth. You have to execute. It's the process and execution and process. And it never really stops. But if you can learn to love it and embrace it and keep going, I can guarantee that over a long enough period of time, you are eventually going to be successful. You're going to make it to the other side and see some level of success. And I get it. I understand, people do want that event and people want somebody to come in. And I understand why people want to work with me and partner with me, given that I've done this before. But you also have to understand that my time is limited and valuable. And so is your time, by the way. And I have a lot of people asking me every week and sometimes every day. So in order for this to be possible and for me not to go crazy, I had to create a scalable vehicle that allows me the leverage to partner with and help multiple people at once. And this is exactly what led me to create Moguls. And yes, it does cost money. There is a price of entry and you do need to put some skin in the game. But if you ask any of my students, they'll tell you it's definitely worth it. And if you actually follow what I'm telling you in the course, if you diligently put the work in over time, similar to the student I mentioned at the top of the episode, similar to myself, similar to some of the other students, you can definitely build an asset or assets that will continue to earn you a return month in and month out, and do so in a way that is creating value for other people. So that is exactly the goal. And getting to that goal, it is not an event, it is a process. Anybody who tells you any different is selling you a dream. So if you're interested, Moguls is currently application only at this time. It's a short application, but I need to make sure that anyone who I take on as a student has the right expectations, is ready to embrace the process, you guessed it, the process, and put in work. I imagine at some point we'll open up to the public, but for right now, you can submit your application at appmagic.co/get started. We'll have a conversation shortly after, and if it works out, I'll help you to start and or grow your app business as I've helped many others before you. Also, I realize that although it's a very reasonable price for the value, not everyone can afford the investment, and that is absolutely fine. So I took 8 months out of my life and spent thousands of dollars of my own money to record and edit all of the same knowledge that I put into the video course, and I put it into a 100-page book called The 7 Steps to App Success. If you listen to this podcast for more than a few episodes, you probably heard about this book. So this book is essentially a course put into a book. You can currently get it for $27, I believe. I think that's the price at appmagic.co/book. And I have been encouraged to raise the price to $50 or $100 to more accurately reflect the value of the full course that is being presented in the book. I finally decided that I am going to do that and raise the price. So if you've been dragging your feet and considering buying the book, you should probably do so now and get it at the lower price. If you're buying it later on, trust me, you're still getting a bargain as long as you plan to put what you learn into practice. Years of my life went into this content. So yeah, appmagic.co/book. But anyway, all right, guys, enough of that. Whether you get the book or don't, whether you join the course or don't, that's not what matters to me. If you want to join, I'd love to have you. But what really matters, if you have a goal, if you want to accomplish something, anything, you need to take action. You need to learn the process and you need to execute over and over and over a long period of time. All right, so that was an intense episode. I hope I didn't scare you away. I hope you guys will be back next week. If you enjoyed and got value, all I ask is that in return, you bring me back some friends. Bring me back some more subscribers. Bring me back some more community members. I definitely need your help with that. Which, of course, guys, brings us to the question of the week. I'm going to stick with this one. I kind of like it, which is, what is the most interesting thing you learned in this episode? And you can leave that as a review in the podcast store. I would definitely appreciate that. Or join me in gameofgrow.com/chat. All right, guys. And with that, I will see you guys back here real soon on the Game of Grow podcast. Because remember, guys, it doesn't matter where you start or where you are right now. Are you willing to take the challenge and grow? DJ, drop that beat and take us out. Thank you for tuning in to the Game of Grow movement. If you'd like to hear more, head to gameofgrow.com to sign up for my weekly updates about my own journey as I create the powerful, profitable, and impactful business of my dreams. And I want to hear about your journey as well. And if you want to connect on social media, I'm at Game of Grow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. On LinkedIn, just search for my name. Don't forget to join us in the Game of Grow community, which you can search for on Facebook. And if you love the show, the biggest way you can help is to subscribe, rate, and review, and then find a like-minded friend you can help to do the same. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.